Hey guys, how's it going? June 23rd, 2022. And we're just outside of Rice Yard here. Going to take a look. I think I heard a train. I knew I heard one somewhere around here. Yeah, he's coming into town here. Somewhere. I heard somebody honking. There he is. So, having these through trains, they sometimes get hung up by auto, which is okay. They're more for eye candy and creating operational interest. So when you're on the Sanford sub and you're getting, I don't know why he's not clear, but anyways, he's still moving. Oh, there we go. See, just as I was speaking, that auto responds. But give some operation, like these meets here at Seville and different things like that. So it serves its purpose. What's going on down? Oh, look at that! I'm like, what's going on here? Okay, this guy probably just passed. So, see what I mean? I don't know what the hell he's doing. I love. I'll take his mistakes for how good he is, how good he really is at doing things. And I don't know what the hell I went to that for. I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to check the chat. Nothing happening. 2 people on. Okay. But anyways, so that it works well, and I'm not too worried about what the trains look like so much. As long as they're operating somewhat realistically, they're trains that can be run, they're eye candy. They really don't have an influence into Waycross or locals. They certainly, if you're running locals, they certainly play their role because they basically require that a local gets out of the way. They don't require it. I mean, you can hold the line all you want, and you're not going to hear a complaint from the dispatcher. But dare ask him for another signal, and if you've already asked him twice, he'll get real snippy at you. I'd love to see him start getting snippy if you don't clear the main line. That'd be fun. I think I put that as an idea too. Yeah, you never know. You get some, you lose some. Anyways, I lost this tug of war, and this is where I'm leading to this conversation and what needs to be done. So I at first tried to set the settings low enough so that I wouldn't get too much traffic. Like at first we actually had it higher, and we were still able to control it because we'd have, generally we would have maybe 4, 5, 6 hours worth of work at Waycross a day. There would be enough people to run it. But what ended up happening was people who gotten busy or whatever, and there hasn't been as many people to run it. And there's even been people running, like Switcher, for example, has been doing a lot of running. I've been stuck in Waycross for the longest time, and I love Waycross. I want to be able to be challenged. I want to be able to have things. So having that randomness really spices things up. But when you get nailed by 7 trains in one day, which was unbelievable, it then it didn't let up. It did let up, but it really didn't go below average. It stayed another 3 trains the next day, which used to be what was theoretical max for a day. It never usually got more than 3. So it stayed relatively busy in Waycross, or what we're used to, and I think it was yesterday, I came home and I noticed there was 2 trains that were waiting, despite the fact that people were clearing the yard earlier. There were still 2 trains that were waiting to get into the yard because they couldn't get in because the yard was entirely full. At that point, I decided to delete those trains, and I took the demand out. So when I go into AI traffic generation for a Callahan sub, I took this demand out. It was sitting around here, so it was fairly low. But all these trains that would get pulled were no longer doing it. Now, speaking of these trains, this brings into the next topic: how these trains act or look. I can show you an example of pretty much every train in this yard, and you can see they go in 2 directions. So you got Baldwin, that's a southbound train, and then the northbound is HSC. There's supposed to be a Savannah block, but for some reason he doesn't get Savannahs. So there's already, I know there's an issue as far as the number of tags it will allow. But everything else, when you look at a train, 2 things you're going to see right away. We're going to go from beginning to end. Notice the red. These are loads. So you got your loads, and you can, and in fact, you can see it throughout the entire yard. You can see it's just nothing but red. Nothing but red, right? My son's come home now. I wasn't too sure what he was doing. I was trying to figure out his schedule. I guess they were out shopping, but I didn't know how long they were going to be. Now you start seeing the green coming in, and by the time you get to the end of the trains, they're into the green. So I won't go too long here, but you'll probably come down. So the other thing that you will see, now this is one where an engine's got taken off, so it's ready to hump, right? So a train that has fewer tags is probably a bad example. Let's use one that has that is going northbound. So this is what's weird about this tag. This first tag only has 1, but then every other tag after that, CHS, LSC, LFS, these are all the tags. So it's not even, it's not, there's nothing random about it other than the length of the train that I can see. You notice there's just 2 for every one. 2 for every one. That doesn't really pose much of any randomization. In fact, despite the fact that the train was randomly showing up whenever the hell it wanted to, which is not the case in the prototype, there's no randomization here, which there would be in the prototype. So we're losing a schedule, and we're also losing prototypical consists that make sense. There's a lot of things that don't make sense about these trains, and I'll show you a few other examples. It calls all the different car types. So you can see the 2. Now, watch what happens. Look at that. You have a load for Chicago, which is rare, because a lot of times by the time it gets to the end of the train, it doesn't have anything. Now, it divided this whole thing randomly. It could not divide the entire train into 3s. So it had to divide it into at least 3s. If it doesn't, this is what they call the remainder. So when you divide something for mathematics, and I remember this from math school, you had a remainder. This is the remainder. You can't divide this by 3 each at this point, because if you're looking, you divide that by 3, you're going to run out of room. So look at how many cars Chicago gets, and this is the same dilemma we're getting for New Orleans going the other way, except it's not as drastic. And the only reason why it's not as drastic is because there's less tags, so it has an opportunity to divide evenly more, whereas all the other tags it has to. It's just it's nuts. So I wanted to show you another thing that you're going to find. And I'm going to, hopefully I will find it. Here's an example. It doesn't matter about car types. So Q541, which is heading south, this one's okay. This one kind of makes sense because it's got loaded lumber, right? I'm just trying to think of some other car types. Loaded auto, that makes sense. Gone, who knows? Loaded reefers, that makes sense. More auto. I don't know if there's any as much auto on those trains. It's not, because they already have dedicated auto trains, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. But then it drops into your empties. And then suddenly we've got we got empty reefers going into New Orleans, which is possible, but I mean, yeah, I suppose, but the majority of them are going to be going the other way. And you can see there's a bit of a pattern. I noticed that anyways. It's hard to pick out, but there's a particular pattern with that. And for some people that isn't going to matter. That part isn't as important as the more randomized trains. But also to have locations that the trains come from that actually represent better logistics. So generally you would get reefers headed back to the north. You'd have loads, you'd have mostly empties coming back. Generally you would also have majority empty trains heading north as opposed to more loads coming south, because Florida is a net is a net consumer. There's some things that they will generate. Certainly, they have industries in Florida. Scott had, sent a whole whack of them. But what you're not going to see is lumber coming out of Florida, as far as I know, anyways. I could be wrong about that, and if there is, then I need to know. That's what I've been trying to find out. Do they have a forest where they? I mean, I know they have swamps and a few. I'm sure they do, but I mean, okay, so we got empty reefers again. You're having train after train of empty reefers. The other thing that you don't, what you see in an average train, you notice there's no trains for locals. Each train that comes in would not only have through traffic, it would have local traffic. Well, in Run8 you can't do that. At least not to the visible eye. What you do, instead of creating these trains that don't have tags, what you can do is you can create trains that do have tags and have them the majority of your, basically the majority or all of your manifest trains. Have them all tagged for industries. And you might be saying, well, Sean, how can you do that? How can you get the all these cars to your locations? The answer to that is dummy industries. All you have to do is create industries. And I could show you right now. I'd have to take the server down, and I'm not ready to introduce them just yet. I'm more on a planning stage right now. But all you have to do is you put an industry for, you put about 2 fake industries for every location. and one you have for the loads and one you have for the empties, and you demand so many cars of different types. You can set them for ratios, you can set them for more demand, you can set them for how many trains you have going into a certain area. There's a lot of things that you can do that makes it very intriguing. Like how many, I mean, you may have a lot of Chicago traffic, and I suspect we will, but we're not going to have overwhelming Chicago traffic that requires every single outbound train that's going to come through is going to require it. The other thing is the schedule. Having these trains just pop up, sometimes repeat symbols, is not right. So you want to have it so that the trains come on a schedule. Well, the good thing is, if you're running a server that is not too busy, which is the case here, we're running at about a 7-to-1 ratio. Actually, we're a little bit higher right now just because of the lack of numbers. But if this became more efficient, I may be able to do more outside of Waycross, which means I'd be more productive in running certain locals. And then others would this yard would become more productive because the cars that were going to them wouldn't require trimming. Like, say, for a Chicago, every time there's 2 humps going, a Chicago wouldn't do. And I know this is New Orleans. I can tell by looking at it. You can see this is the one that gets that's the one that gets filled up. Now Chicago must have got pulled recently, but that's how you get things. And you notice, see all, you know, I shouldn't say that. There's empties over here too. So it all depends on when they come into contact with the bowl and what have you. But that's what I plan on doing, is figuring out the logistics. You figure out the logistics you want, then you work on the number of cars. So let me just check the chat. Nothing happening. Boring stuff. Non-train stuff. Boring. And I knew it would be. So I probably won't be too long. As soon as my son comes down, I'll probably... Well, he's having supper, I think, upstairs. So he might be a bit. Alright, 7 viewers on. Let me go into the sheets here for a minute. Speaking of food, I think it's that time. Let me go ride a train for a moment, and then we'll get into a little bit more details as far as what's going on here. So these are the trains that we'll go find a train in a second, but these are the trains that I have numbers 0 here for now. I haven't gone too far into everything else other than this is the matrix, similar to the Waycross matrix, which will probably replace it, that goes in and basically every one of these trains, and it shows you the time of day too, which is going to become important. It shows you the traffic that would be going to those locations. So Baldwin may not get a ton of traffic, but they're going to get traffic every time. You know, or maybe they are going to get a ton of traffic. Who knows? Hard to say. Depends on you know, how much we want to send them, and we can figure that out. We can figure something roughly, and we can always alter it down the road. There's that one Chicago. So instead of having every other train have Chicago on it, if you reduce the amount of Chicago that you're getting and spread it out more evenly, you'll end up getting more. Everything else, you might want to give it a little bit more so that there's not 2 cars per train. Makes sense. But that's that part anyways. So we got that. We've got the I got the various car types. So what it would need is you would basically have to, so red for loads, green for empties. I haven't matrixed this yet. I haven't figured out how many cars are going to be going, say, to Baldwin, who are going to be called to Baldwin from the north, who's going to be called to each industry from each train, per se, or like each type. I don't think I need to. I don't need to do it for these. I need to do it more for the south stuff and the northwest kind of thing. And then I'll start plugging in numbers and do a little bit of math and magic, and we get it all happening. I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm still, but I need to actually focus on this for the next little while and get this into place. So what I've done is I've opened up Waycross for now, and I might look into it. The other thing I can do too is I can take a look at instead of having supply trains that do so much, I can go in and let me see here. So if I go into my industry configurations, now these are all sorted by alphabetically. But like right now I have a 4-train supply or a 3-train supply. Well, what if I was to have I could have, let me see here. What I can do, and this is how I can filter it. Let me go back into logistics again for a second if I can find it. I think it's back to the left. So if I go into logistics, what I could do, I don't have too much fine control. Unfortunately, I can't split trains. I mean, I can physically, but technically I'm just doubling the demand. But if I have, depending upon how many trains I have coming in, now I haven't gone so far as to what I'll do here. Let me insert a few. I'll have a snack shortly. So, in looking at the various trains, right? So if I go Alt, oh, I can't do Alt F1 while that's on, huh? Oh, that sucks. 452, 454. Well, let's try to do. I'll do it this way then. So that's a Bolin southbound. So Q452, Q454, Q602, Q604, Q606, Q608, Q644, Q652. Now those are all southbound trains. So we'll make those yellow. Then if I go over, like, see what I mean? I have them all tagged without filters, so I would change that. And then if I go, see, that was Bolin. It sounded like I was in Callahan, but anyways. Now I go to Callahan, I go to mixed freights. Or was it? No, that was, okay, that's northbounds. Okay, so let's try that again. Now I want to go into Bolin. Bolin siding. Mixed freight. Okay. Actually, you know, I'm going to have it where it comes from. I'll try to remember that. So that comes from the south. Whoops. Undo that. I don't know what I did there. So that comes from the south. Oh, for crying out loud. What do I want to do? Put it underneath? I guess I want to put it underneath, but I have to do it the way it likes it. Is it happy now? It should be. Okay. So Q541, Q549, Q647, Q647, Q685, Q689. So those are coming the other way. Now I do have some, I have some going from the other way too. I have, what is it? Coming in from, I'll find it. Does it matter? I think, yeah, it should be Manor Siding. There we go. Let me see what I have. I don't know if I still have, if I have train numbers for them. No, I call them supply. I'll have to, I know there's some. Just like there's some that go out, I'll have to bring them in. So this is a perfect example. Now there's more. I think there's like 3 trains. I don't have the times on those yet. I'll have to dig up some research on them. But let's say for example 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 13 trains here. So up here I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did I do that right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't even have anything going to 780 right now. And, you know, so I can look at where these trains are coming, and I can matrix that as well, assuming, you know, some of the sources are coming from, you know, the same direction or whatever. There might be other locations that I haven't picked out yet that I'll want to look into. But I can assign one local to every one of those. So if I go into industry configuration, and I'm going to do a data sort. So I'm going to short. No, I don't want to do column A. I want to go with. I want to go with column. I want to go with column C. So if I do a data sort, column C, A to Z. So now this sorts everything by what A753 is going to call for, which is a fair amount. So it's calling for 13, 23, 33, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 47, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 60, oh Jesus, 68, 73, 74, this thing's huge, 74, I see an 84 underneath, there's like 93, so there's a lot there. There's like 93 cars. I can divide that in 2 simply by supplying it with 2 times of what a typical train would be. In fact, there's still more coming out at 753.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Voice crack. You streaming?
Yeah, I'm streaming. I didn't know when you were going to be here, so.
Outfit, that's it.
Ooh. Is that your new pants too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
They fit pretty good. They're a little loose, but
Have you had supper already?
yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what was going on, so.
Yeah, I had supper while we were out.
Okay. I'm just talking about my system here for now. We'll watch the show in a little bit here.
Ah,
So on this one, 759, we got 626. I mean, I can count them all, but you get the drift of the picture here. So 766 doesn't have as many. 766 has very few, but there you wanna, you may want to supply that more, or maybe you don't. It all depends. Some of the industries maybe you don't want to supply as much. Maybe you need to tweak them a little bit. So, like international paper, 772 doesn't have much. I know that. So a lot of these, like 775, that's an auto thing. Open hopper, don't know. That wouldn't be anything. Sanford Industrial Park, 780. That's something we got to add into. So, but the more you add, the more they go into that supply train too. So you got to be careful. But anyways, I'm going to undo that one because I don't want that sort on there. And I think that's in it. Just hey Terry, how's it going? Hey Bob. Evening, makes sense. Cool. Actually, I'm getting information about the lumber and possible trains you asked about. Oh, okay, cool. That's cool. Anything you got, yeah, you can just share it down with on the Discord, and we'll get all that there. Like I said, I didn't know what my son was doing, so I might break this into two. Do a little bit more. Unless you want me to talk about this the whole time, Emmett.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to take a break or.
Well, we could take a break for a little bit. 7:17. I know I just came on. I can come back on. You're staying down to what, till 9?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll give you some time then, and then we can do it that way. But just to summarize, if you're catching late on as far as what I'm talking about here, we're looking at the logistics. These trains will come in. They have their dummy industries. They will start supplying. But the other thing, I do want to get to the other thing too, and that is the importance of the schedule. So trains just don't pop up whenever the hell they want, and we just don't send out a whole whack of trains. Now, yes, it's true, sometimes you send an extra. If you have excess supply to something, you will certainly send a second section. And perhaps that's going to happen, and maybe I will steer it towards it, or I'll just let it go and see what happens naturally. But what you don't want is to just give the AI and their system the control of everything. I liked it at first because I liked the challenge, but then it just becomes a lottery, and that's not how to run a freight system. I mean, I like the challenge. I like the unpredictability of it, but you want it to be somewhat resemble of a schedule, but also your tracks and the way you have your blocks laid out. You want things to flow a lot better. So there's a reason why for example, there's a reason why, let's say, Nashville, for example, and I know why Nashville, for example, because it's got the interchanges there. So Nashville gets 2 trains. Chicago, it's a long way to go to interchange, but Chicago still will receive a lot of track. It has one of the longest tracks in the hump, so that's fine. Birmingham, Alabama, you see there's a lot of trains going that way. But it's also the head block of some of your more locals. So a lot of stuff would get routed through Waycross and switch locals within the Birmingham area via Waycross. So there's a lot of possibility there, whereas the further you get away from Waycross, the less likely Waycross would be involved at all, because a lot of that would have all cross corridor stuff coming. You wouldn't have that. That's why on the other side, that's why you see it in both ways. You see Birmingham, but you also see Savannah, a little bit of Charleston, South Carolina. Yes, there's a lot of repeating here. But one of those is a daily train and one of those is Thursday to Sunday. So that's when, for whatever reason, there's demand on those particular days. Same with like Florence, South Carolina's got 3. But Savannah's got a whole whack. But they're still relatively close. Speaking to Georgia as far as cross corridor traffic goes, because you're basically, there's a lot of the north of there, you get into some of the rugged coal country and stuff like that, so you don't get as much cross corridor as much. You're either going through the Fitzgerald way, Fitzgerald sub, or you're going up the Nahanta towards Savannah, and then you have some of the cross corridors not too far after that. But by there, you're Savannah, Georgia. You're coming up to South Carolina and a little bit of North Carolina there. Then by the time you're in Virginia, you've got a lot of cross corridor by the time you get to Virginia. A lot of them do make it over the Appalachians. If you look at that, I could show the map, but anyways, it makes sense. Now, as far as the South goes, you got trains that are pretty much identical. So you got a 2:30 in the morning train and an 11 o'clock in the morning train that pretty much handles everything within the South, but you have so much traffic coming in from the country, and it's all going into Florida through the funnel. Baldwin gets every single train that can potentially work Baldwin and the Jacksonville area. Which is kind of weird, because actually there's a lot of traffic that we haven't taken advantage yet, that unfortunately, because Baldwin is not part of the sim, I can't really take advantage of Baldwin, but probably that's a good thing. The fact is, there's a lot of supply that comes from Baldwin itself. I haven't simulated that yet, but I'm starting to, and that a lot of that has to do with the auto transfers, because I noticed the way the autos were transferring, they use Baldwin quite a bit. So we do have a transfer that comes into Jacksonville. I can't really simulate Baldwin and then come out and then come back in, but what I can do is I can still bring a supply to one of the industries coming from White House, which is the connection towards Baldwin that comes in towards Jacksonville on the yard side. And if I have White House spawning that local transfer, which there is one, that will take the load off of the supplies that come out of Waycross. A lot of that can come from southern originations as well. Baldwin becomes a forwarding. It doesn't go all the way up to Waycross. It just basically goes to Baldwin, comes back down. It can also supply the rest of the Sanford sub as well, the Florida East Coast, all kinds of things. We haven't even touched the Florida East Coast yet.
Yeah.
So we haven't touched the Florida East Coast. We haven't touched 780, which, there's a lot, the Dealing Spurs one. There's all kinds of things that we haven't really touched yet. I want to get this straightened out first get this all straightened out. It's going to take me a few weeks. We're on vacation first week of July. Wow. We leave probably before that, but anyways.
Leave this Friday, don't we?
Not this Friday.
Or, well, not
next,
tomorrow.
Next.
Yeah.
By a week from today, we could be leaving any time. So, but so anyways, we got the inbounds, we got the outbounds, we got the various car types. That's where we're gonna try to set up these fake industries. We're gonna set so many cars to go to so many places, and then see if we can get a nice balance for places like Baldwin and. I mean, we could certainly have cars that stop at Baldwin too, heading as opposed to sending a supply train. They can be forwarded at Baldwin with a head end set off, as opposed to running so much on the what do you call it? What are the supplies I'm thinking of? The 455, 457 trains. There's no reason why you can't have a block at Baldwin to try to ease up on 455 and 457 coming into Jacksonville. So you can have it basically bring some of that excess traffic into Baldwin, and that'll be fine. Now, what does it look like? What does it look like in the system? It basically looks like BLD. It doesn't look like anything else. We don't know what the hell it is. All you see in a train that's in and around the Waycross area that basically goes through Waycross is BLD. You won't see these industries. When the industries, where the industries get called in is some of the spawns at White House. They would spawn a certain number of tags, maybe all of them, to a certain degree, possibly with Swisher power or something like that. We can facilitate that as well. But anyways, that's it for now, I think, guys. I'll just check the chat one more time. So far came up with she's still checking for me. A72 serves a lumber plant. Yeah, 772. We
Homeland, Georgia. I think I know that's where that is.
Oh, at Homeland.
Homeland, Georgia.
I don't know about. Yeah, I don't know if it did it in 2007. I saw in the notes too. It said something about Homestead or Homeland. Homeland.
Is down by Folkestone.
Yeah. Well, this is Folkestone. 772 is near Folkestone.
Oh no, Homeland, Georgia would be okay. So Homeland might be Homestead. That might be where I'm getting confused. If that's the case, it's just north of Folkestone.
Exactly.
You should check the CSX map to make sure of that. You check that CSX map. You know, the one where you can search it on the CSX website.
Yeah, it's, what is it, CSX system map?
Yeah, just like the CSX system map.
So anyways. What is it called? Homeland?
Homeland, Georgia.
Let me just take a look here.
Funnel. Yeah.
Oh, it's right there. Okay, yeah, we already got that in there. We're already serving it. I'm trying to think of where it says Homeland, Georgia, but there's
It's just north of.
the industries.
It's probably that industry right up there. You see that? Down a bit.
What's that?
Right there. Oh, you went past it. Up.
Yeah, well, there's one up there.
That's not the one I'm thinking about.
I don't know what the hell you're thinking about.
It's up higher. What I think.
Yeah, that's the one that we already served that.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, 772 serves it. Where do you see it? I don't know.
That's what I saw. Was the one that's where it's probably what it is.
Well, I'll show you. We have lumber. There's the lumber goes up there. It's yeah, I'll show you. Is it A line? Yeah, I'll be on A line. So 772 international paper, if that's what we're talking about.
like a weird name for a lumber.
This is Homeland. AJM Packaging. So yeah, there should be cars right down there. Maybe not. No, not so much lumber. I guess it's not lumber. So I guess I don't know if it is. Now, mind you, this is like 2007, so I don't know how new that was. Which is why I'm doing 2007. So you get a lot of these different eras, and stuff goes in, and tank farms go in, and all kinds of funky stuff. Let's whoops, where we got here? Yeah. So this is the industries this is the that's the one that we deal with. So that's the paper. And then there's another one in here, which I don't know if it has any cars right now. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's got one.
Definitely a paper plant.
What's that? This one?
It's a paper plant, huh?
Yeah.
Funky.
Yeah, the other one is AJM Packaging.
I'm surprised by the hoppers of the paper plant.
Why not? It can have that.
Yeah, it's just a lot of them.
Yeah.
Surprised.
This is just
Tank
packaging.
Cars tank cars are common.
Yeah, and there's box cars.
Yeah, that's Homeland, Georgia.
Yeah, yeah, this whole area is Homeland. Of course, there's a much more. Yeah, I guess this is what this is right here. This is Homeland. I guess that's what that's supposed to represent.
It's pretty similar, actually.
Yeah,
It's
that's all
very
right.
similar.
Oh, there you go. And 2007, who knows with urban sprawl and all that other crap.
That's true.
So.
Not that urban, but still.
Sure. Well, I got the symbols for 07 already. I've done enough research on this on the 07 symbols. The big thing as I was posting on the Discord, and Scott provided some information.
7 for 2007, which are long gone. Just curious.
Yeah, well, we got symbols that are
Long gone.
yeah, and change and all that other stuff. So we run 2000. We run 2007. Everything's off bullshit. Way back machine. So the thing that we're looking for right now, this is the information that I need the most. And Scott was providing some information. He was providing more about commodities as opposed to car types. There's a lot of different things that run in different things. I just don't know, and it's hard to get a good pick on commodities. For me, I gotta go with car types. Lumber is one. Taking lumber, I assume that's something that's going to happen in a lot of these places. The locals I'm not worried about. The locals I'm fine with. It's these outer regions. It's the Baldwins, the Wildwood, the Tampas. What would go there, and that's a lot of logistical information. And there's going to be a lot of assumptions, but I know southbound is going to receive more loads. Northbound's going to receive more empties. I know most lumber is going to head south, and most refrigerated packaging is going to go north. I don't know of any lumber that's heading north.
There wouldn't be unless you're talking from northern Georgia.
Yes.
There's a lot of lumber in northern Georgia too.
Okay.
But as far as I'm aware, there's much not many lumber plants in Florida. There's a lot of paper plants, I know that.
Yes.
But there's not many lumber plants. So a lot of it is wood coming down, as far as I am aware. That's just the logistical side of things.
But I don't know what Quincy might have been thinking, that there was a lumber, like a place that had some trees. I know they have a lot of the. I mean, there's forests nearby.
Some of the stuff they get the tropical woods from there.
Yes.
Which sometimes they do.
Yes.
But I don't think there would be anything that would have.
Because you got the Obacheki swamp, which is all around there.
Not a bad pronunciation, but okay.
Well, I tried.
It's very hard to pronounce.
But then you got Obacheki or whatever the hell it is. But then once you get into Fitzgerald area, in fact,
you're getting a lot of.
There's a lot of lumber because you're starting to get into the Appalachians.
And the Appalachian-like trees.
Yeah.
Which is the same trees we got up here, but
so
pine trees too.
So I know as far as the granulars, from what I can tell, the rocks, and I can tell by looking at the industries, they already pretty much do a lot of the job, but they're not the only. There's Conrad Yelvingston's all over Florida, as far as I know.
It's everywhere.
So I would imagine I can just do a repeat and rinse with the Conrad Yelvingston stuff into some of these areas as well.
I know there's some in Tampa.
Okay.
There's one in Tampa because that's a big port for that kind of stuff.
Well, you can help me with this stuff,
Death Valley
Emmett.
might have some interest in that kind of stuff too.
Who?
Death Valley. It's a place in Florida.
Death Valley in Florida?
Yeah.
Never knew about a Death Valley in Florida. I've heard of that out.
Death Valley. Bone Valley.
Bone Valley.
Not
Okay.
Death Valley.
I'm
confused.
Bone Valley.
Death Valley. Bone Valley.
So reefers, I'm almost guessing that reefers are going to go pretty much to all of them. We already know about we've already had the
empty reefers are going to be going south.
No, yeah, but there may be some reefers coming south too.
There's some.
Few.
That's because of the heat, but
no.
Much.
I'm talking about refrigerated product coming from the north.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of it is going north.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because of the orange and all that.
Like coils, that's one. I would imagine coils are going to be coming south.
Coils would most likely come south because there's not many steel plants in Florida. I mean, there actually used to be a fair amount, but most of it's going to be coming up from the Appalachians.
Well,
a lot of it's from Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio, Michigan.
Rust Belt, essentially.
Yeah.
Rust Belt, bit of the stuff from Pennsylvania. That's it.
Auto, it's going to be coming south. I don't know.
Auto racks go both directions.
They do.
They very much do, and that just tends to be the case. Is auto racks will go both directions because there's dealerships of different types in many places. I would say.
Yeah, but do they have? Is there actually a lot of production?
There is. In fact, there's. I'm pretty sure there's a production facility.
I know they get a lot from Mexico, but
there's a production facility in Brunswick, for example, in Brunswick, Georgia.
Well, that's Brunswick. That's north.
I know, but what I'm saying still is there is a fair amount.
That's interesting information to know. Is the auto network?
I would say that more fulls will be coming down than going up.
And which we have auto trains to match
both
that.
Ways. Because a lot of the stuff's coming down from Michigan and Ohio. Again, all other places that produce the steel.
Mm-hmm.
But still, there's a large amount of auto industry as far as I'm aware in Florida.
Did I just do it? I did a sort, didn't I? Oh, undo. I've already done it. So here we go. These are the 2007 symbols. 202 doesn't exist in 2007. 250. So yeah, so you got a lot from Baldwin that comes out. I don't know if Baldwin has something, but I know Baldwin gets a lot that originates.
What do you mean by Baldwin has something?
Baldwin, there's a lot that originates out of Baldwin.
Yes, that is the case.
But I don't know if they're just picking up all the empties.
There's no industries in Baldwin, if that's what you're wondering.
Okay. There's no auto industry.
As far as I'm aware, there's nothing you can check on Google Maps.
Tampa. Well, I don't know. Now Louisville, I know that's stuff coming. That's stuff that's coming south.
From Louisville.
Yes.
What is the train? Manifest?
215. I'm done. These
These
are all autos.
Oh, if it's coming from Louisville, hell yeah, it's definitely going auto south.
Yeah. Yes.
Marysville,
Taft. I'm already using it.
Marysville, Ohio is definitely auto coming south. Nashville, Tennessee, auto coming south. Toledo.
No, this is
south.
empties. Baldwin to Marysville.
Yeah, it's all auto going south.
Mm-hmm. Rocky Mountain. Okay, now we're in the manifest. So those are empty and loaded unit trains.
Yeah.
Of auto, and I can't think of any. Of course, they do appear on some of the 400 or Q400 and above trains too, and I imagine those are more mixing center and.
Yes, that's where you mix more of the.
They go to different places.
Yeah, that's where you mix more of the low.
I don't know what mixing centers exist. Obviously I know one out in Fostoria, but I don't know where the other mixing centers are.
There's mixing centers in places. I don't know of any in Florida.
Yeah.
I would imagine more of it's probably north of there. There's probably some in Georgia, but I don't know. I'm not that in tune to auto. All I know is Detroit make cars.
Yeah.
Ohio make cars.
Yeah.
Steel, that's where they're going to make the cars.
Of course.
Makes no sense.
Oops.
I'm sure they make some in Florida.
Yeah.
They must.
Okay, so I'm just reading the comments here. She said she had limited stuff for 07, but she had a ton of crap she can send me for 04, 05, and 06. Well, symbols I don't need. It's more of what's on them. So one thing, if you do have Quincy, this is something that would be very beneficial to me. If you can get a hold of the Wheeler reports or the what the hell do they call them for you guys? I was going to say switch lists. I guess they'd be the manifests. If you have some symbol manifests, full manifests, if you happen to have them, even if they're 04, 05, 06, I'd be interested. Because I can, there's going to be enough information that passes over to 07 that especially I can. 06. Yeah. I was going to say especially 06. I'm using 07 only because the reason why I'm using 07, there's a few things. Number one, right around 07 bullshit. Yeah, 2001 was 9/11. Yeah, I know that, but that's a little bit dated information too. So I don't expect you to pull out miracles out of your ass. So yeah, that's yeah. If you can get me some of those, that would go a long way. Because then I can really get fine tune the logistics, and it would be kind of cool. It doesn't have to be perfect. I used to do, if you remember back in the day with RTS, I used to take videos, or I used to take videos online of the various trains, and I don't think you remember this. You were you were really young, Emmett. But what I used to do is I used to basically go through whatever videos I could find of California trains, and I would get the car types, and I would try to determine. Oh, you do remember that, huh?
Yeah, because that has something to do with RTS.
Of course.
Yeah,
because the original RTS, what it did was it was going for it was actually using a commodity-based system. It was using a supply. I'm not going to be using a commodity-based system. I'm going to use the system that's in place, but I'm going to take advantage and I'm going to push it to the limit. Dummy Industries will do that. It will do it quite well. It does it. It handles industry movements pretty good. What it doesn't do very well is try to mix between it doesn't handle through traffic logistics very well, or I shouldn't say logistics. It doesn't handle through traffic consist very well. You get basically they just throw all the cars at it, put the loads on the front, empties on the back, and say, "Here's your train." and it's just like, it just. I mean, it may work for some unit trains. Obviously, it'll work for them, but when you're getting to a manifest train, it doesn't look right. And it's earing me for a while, but now it's affecting the operations, and that's where because it affects the operations, that's where it really gets my attention. When I see all that Chicago and New Orleans just filling the yard, and we're literally sending out the next train is going to be a Chicago train, and then we build another train, and then we're building another Chicago train because it's that bad. So
it's too much Chicago, too much
yeah,
world.
well, that's because of, as I was showing earlier, that's how Run8 works. It's by design. It is what it is. I'm not knocking Run8. Run8 is the best. The best thing about it is we have the ability to take advantage of it. And I've done it before, I'll do it again, so. Too bad Run8 can't open the spawn points so you can spawn care from an external spawn from. Oh, I see. Yeah, kind of like the external dispatcher switches. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Can always put that as an idea. I won't do it. I agree. It would be really cool, but I'm okay. I'm okay with it, honestly. The schedule system definitely needs. It's one of the things I've been waiting for since version 2, is to have a proper schedule. We don't have it, and that was what killed me from letting the AI system handle the spawns for Waycross. It was too wake inconsistent. When I'm trying to go for an average of 1 to 3 trains a day, and all of a sudden I get 7, it just kills your yard. And we only got a couple people. It kills you. You just can't catch up, and you can't dig your way out of that, especially if you're not if you're busy yourself for a few days. Okay, sure. Yeah, whatever you got, I appreciate it. Anyways, I'm gonna end this for now. Spend some time with my son. I might be back in an hour. I'm not too sure if we'll see. Because there's really not too much more I can do. Once I gather that information, then perhaps I'll be able to do more. But I can at least go through the trains. I may do that offline, to be honest. So I'm going to be doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff for the next little bit. I haven't gone anywhere. I'm just, I don't know. I might do it. I'll show you some of the process, maybe at 9 o'clock. I don't mind doing that. Anyways, that's all for now, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
See ya.